So you broke a shear bolt for the auger on a snowblower, and you can find the piece, maybe, if you got good eyes. It'll look like this with a little stub on it. Let's explore how we can turn this into a shear bolt, because you cannot use a regular bolt when the opening looks like that. That opening corresponds to the stick part. Let's make this work with a regular bolt. So here I found the diameter of what normally would go there, and what's going to fit in the hole of the auger on the snowblower, the shaft of the auger. Now what we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole. We'll first flatten that nub out, and we're going to drill a hole, you know, almost the whole way through this bolt head, and then we're going to tap it with a tap and a T-handle, and then we'll just be able to thread this bolt in. And then the big side right here is going to be the nut, and then that's going to be our new shear bolt. And then we can weaken, this is just a Harbor Freight bolt from a kit of nuts and bolts, so it's going to be really weak. Let's see if we look at the head there. That grade 4.8 or class 4.8, whatever that is a weak bolt. Trust me, you can snap these things pretty easy. And we're going to weaken it even further with like an angle grinder. So we're going to take an angle grinder and just grind that flat, so we have a nice flat surface to work with. As you can see there, I ground it flat, not too far, just enough. We want to keep that shoulder there, because that's what interfaces with that auger. I almost forgot, one of the most important steps is center punching right in the center. Because if you get this off kilter, it won't even go in. You will have zero chance of making this work. So now we have a tap and die set, and this little gauge that sits right here, I think it's a 1.5. Those teeth look about right. And now we'll take the bolt and we'll match the teeth up just like this. And it's kind of hard to see. Let's move it around. And no, that's not it. It looks a little bit different than that. So we're going to try a different size. When we find the size, we're going to choose one of these taps here, and I'll show you how to size the drill bit. So it's called the thread pitch. It's what that gauge was measuring with the little shark teeth. Now we're looking for a 1.0. Now right here, that's an M7, not quite it. It was a 1.0 thread pitch, so we're getting close. So this is the tap we're going to use. We're going to use it with this T-handle. Now let's go find a drill bit. So I got a drill bit here. You match it up in terms of diameter, and you can see just on the very edges there. Do it with the bolt. The bolt's a little easier to see. See how the teeth just protrude a little bit? And the valley of the teeth hit the drill bit. But in the middle of the teeth, they're visible, and the peak is definitely visible. Let's see if we can focus better. See that? That's how you size the drill bit. This is probably the right size drill bit. If it's too tight, and you just go one barely bigger size. So now we got that hole drilled, baby. So here's the bit that came out of the auger. When you match them up, they're almost exactly the same, if not the same. And that's important because you don't want a lot of slop in this. Because every time you stop and go, it will be making that hole a little bit oblong each time, and you don't want that. So what I've done here is I've stuck this bolt through, and you see how much is sticking out? That's all I want. So I marked it with a marker, and then I put it in the vise like this, chopped off with the angle grinder, and then on the bench grinder I just smoothed up the threads and wire wheeled it a little bit. And now I lost the nut, so it's time to play cleanup. There we go. Check it out. Now, when I jiggle this, right, the slop is less than the factory shear bolt. Go figure. So now instead of buying shear bolts, maybe take a bigger bolt, right, just so you can get that bigger diameter shank up on the one side of the shaft. And then you just tap it for a little bolt. That's how you make shear bolts, friends. And if you're really paranoid about it breaking the gearbox, you just have to score it with an angle grinder right by the head there. Boom. Bob's your auntie. Hey, book of the week, Industrial Society and its Future. Absolutely mint.